Hello and welcome to Monday here in the end of May. And this is Josh Bottom from the Kubeflow community. And today we're going to review Kubeflow 1.3. And so we've got a great team of folks here to provide an in-depth detail on this table of contents. And we'll quickly go over our release process, some of the survey results that we take from the community, give an overview, and then go into the deep dive into each of the components that have been delivered inside of Kubeflow 1.3. Kubeflow 1.3, as an overview, provides a mature foundation for a modern Kubernetes native ML platform with best-in-class key performance indicators. Kubeflow 1.3 delivers new user UIs that streamline ML workflows and provides operational and infrastructure efficiencies, including simplified installation and updated documentation. Kubeflow 1.3 also extends the ML framework support. Just a little background on Kubeflow 1.3. This is our 11th release. We have a blog post here. We do have a community release process, which includes collecting user requests from GitHub, Slack, community meetings, and user surveys. Then the communities, the working groups develop roadmaps that define the releases as well as the timing. We have a versioning policy for each of the components, stable, beta, and alpha. And you can see the stable components over here. You can see the roadmaps over here. And we do have an application requirements template, which enables the working groups to know what's expected to put something into stable. We have a great list of contributors. This is the majority of the major distributors here. And you can see that this is not just a few commercial vendors. This is interaction between both end users and commercial distributions in order to produce a high quality product. So when you look at Kubeflow 1.3 as an open source offer, you can roll your own using Manifest or Argo Flow. This is primarily for advanced users, or there are options for commercial distributions from these market leaders here, and these links will allow you to get to those. Just a quick update on how we got to Kubeflow 1.3, our 11th release. Every year we do a user survey. This survey has kind of been consistent in that the majority of people that have been replying year over year have been machine learning engineers and architects. But if you look at it, there's many data scientists, as well as a host of engineers, data engineers, DevOps engineers, Kubernetes platform engineers, as well as software engineers. All of these, great news. We had a 50% increase in user response to about 180 some, as well as a 300% increase in the number of users in production with Kubeflow. From a key performance indicator, what I thought was interesting from feedback from the users is that model life often is fairly short, 3 months. In this respect, you look at 11% under a week, 13% under a month, and 26% under 3 months. So you could say, most models are being replaced within 90 days. And that iteration is also fairly key because it takes, let's say, in this case, is 50% of the models take less than 15 iterations to produce. But if you just did a quick number and said I had 10 data scientists that were producing models, then every 90 days, they're producing 15 new versions of that model. So 10 models times 15 every 90 days, that's 150 iterations every 90 days. That's a lot of time waiting for models to complete training and infrastructure usage. So what we like to do is look at what are the biggest gaps in Kubeflow when we start to go through development. And what we've seen here is that documentation has been a critical ask from the community, more tutorials, improved support, automation, as well as portability and reproducibility along with others. And if we double click into this, it's kind of interesting to see that data pre-processing and pipeline building, as well as feature engineering, are more time consuming than they are technically challenging. But some of the other things that people are trying to take on, like model monitoring and model serving and distributed training, are more challenging than time consuming. So I know I went over that pretty quickly, but I think that's kind of an interesting observation. And as we've worked through trying to help folks, this includes streamlining the workflows with new user interfaces. You can see in notebooks the things that we've provided with VS Code and Jupyter and RStudio and updated images, or in CATIB, hyperparameter tuning and tracking, Tensorboard with model measurements and performance, simplified data management with a volume manager, pipelines, job dependencies, job and dependency tracking, as well as with Kale with workflow for pipeline building, tuning, serving, and monitoring, and model administration and monitoring for KF serving, which is in master, but isn't in 1.3 right now. And then kind of to show on the new efficiencies to help you with your ML platform, you can see that the installation with new manifests and customized, including improved dependency support, has been brought in 1.3, Kubeflow pipelines with Tekton, multi-user support, and pipeline step caching. And also we see CATIB seeing early stopping, pipeline step caching, and custom template improvements. All this, again, enhanced with simplified Canary rollouts, more ML framework support, and operational efficiencies using gRPC and multi-model serving in Kubeflow serving. So that's kind of a quick overview of how we got to 1.3 and some of the overview of the simplified, streamlined workflows and new efficiencies. With that, we're going to dive into simplified installation with Yannis.
Thanks a lot, Josh. So for the hi everyone, I'm Yannis from the Manifest Working Group. And for 1.3, our main focus was on standardizing our tooling and our processes. We know that in Kubernetes, there are a ton of methods to deploy, and each company or user prefers their own. So Kubeflow manifests have standardized on just using customizing kubectl, on top of which users can plug in whatever they want. And the results of this are already starting to show with many more integrations with Kubeflow 1.3, like Kubeflow. Then, on top of this, we provide some detailed installation instructions, both for users who just want to get started with a single command, and also a component by component installation for users that may want some of Kubeflow, but not all of it. We have upgraded Istio, which has been a long time ask, and we have simplified the structure of manifests, as well as separated the responsibilities between the manifest owners and the owners of its components, so that it's clear who is responsible for which, and we can move independently. For more information, you can check out our working group meetings or GitHub repo, and feel free to get involved. We'd love to have you.
Hi, I'm Rui from the documentation side. As Josh mentioned, this was a big request by the community to improve documentation and make things more clear to users. So we made a big push to, in essence, bring clarity as people are starting to get to Kubeflow and understand how to get started. And this was made through a complete restructure of the information architecture. We added concepts like distributions, external add-ons, and we've also updated a lot of kind of out-of-date pages that had been left from previous release. And We also would like to incentivize everyone. So as we get the docs better and better, we incentivize people also to go look further than the documentation and join the Slack, join GitHub and working group meetings. And also there are a few more assets that people can use so that they can educate it on the best use of Kubeflow. You have here a few more links so that you can get up to speed. The community blog is also a great place for resources. You can find things from latest on Khatib, KF serving, all of these pieces and exciting blog posts. And of course the community meeting notes. So hopefully this has been a great improvement for everyone coming in and using Kubeflow. And with that, I leave space for Kim Monas to talk about notebooks.
Thank you, Rui. For notebooks, it was a pretty exciting release cycle for us, since it was the first time that we really pushed with our manifest. We installed our CI/CD, which allowed us to further develop our code. And we're really excited to also add some new features for this release, which is the addition of more IDEs for users to try and experiment with. Now people can launch VS Code instances, which is based on Tidyverse, and as well as RStudio images. And there will be seamlessly supportive via the existing UI we have for managing notebooks. This comes as well with some changes to the base images we have both for Jupyter and for the other notebooks. And we have also migrated to Jupyter Lab instead of plain Jupyter. To come along with these changes, of course, the notebooks controller had to be extended to allow more support. And also, we also implemented new features to our backend code, which allowed us to add more common features to our web app, like the Tensorboard that I'm going to talk in a minute. And with the updated code for our web apps, we also managed to introduce two new ones that allowed useful workflows for Kubeflow. The first one, as we briefly mentioned, is the volume manager that will allow you to list and perform CRUD operations on top of PVCs on your namespace. So from now on, it won't be a black box once you create a notebook. And the question is, okay, how do I delete my volumes now? How can I manage them? You can use this simple UI for now to manage these volumes. And we really have high hopes to further integrate it with other components and help people do their data management via this UI. Equally important is the Tensorboard Edition that we did. For 1.3, we added a new UI that manages first-class citizen Tensorboard instances, which will allow people to view their models while they train, even if they're started from a notebook, a pipeline step, or any other container. And this gets decoupled from the actual notebook, so the user can just spin up and down these instances whenever they want. This is an alpha feature, but we're already looking into how we can further make it even more production ready and give end users more options to customize it even further. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye on our working group. And with this, I'm going to pass the torch to Jackson, that's going to show you the awesome things they do for distributed training operators.
Hi, hello. Yeah, this is Jackson from Working Group Training. In 1.3 released, Working Group Training still concentrate on usability, performance, and maintenance of the training operators. We mainly make efforts in following three areas in this release. The first is better gun scheduling support with Volcano. Volcano is the Kubernetes native batch system. It provides a suite of mechanisms that are commonly required by batch jobs, like gun scheduling, fair share resource between tenants. We work with the Volcano community to extract the Volcano API as a separate repo for Kubeflow operators to easily integrate with. At the same time, operators expose more gun scheduling settings like queue, minimum resources, and priority class to users so that user can better control the batch job scheduling behavior. The second area is distributed frameworks. The first one is we start to support multiple TensorFlow evaluators in this version. we also bring more other frameworks into Kubeflow. The first one is ByPS. ByPS is a high performance and general distributed training framework. It supports TensorFlow, Keras, PyTorch, and MXNet, and can run on either TCP or RDMA network. It uses similar roles like MXNet, so the support has been added in MXNet operator to train ByPS jobs. The second one is the Light GBM, which is the much better approach when dealing with large data sets. It's almost 7 times faster than XGBoost. From operator perspective, they are very similar. So that support has been added in the XGBoost operators now. The last area is the scalability and performance. We have a few fixes and improvement in this release. Some well-known one is for some of the cases, the job completion time in spec is missing before the job cleanup. It's very hard to integrate with external systems. So this has been fixed. And we record and surface more TF job events from abnormal pod status. So user can describe the job directly to find the detailed field reason without understanding the underneath pod topology. And there's also some improvements on the expectation library and cleanup logics to handle more edge cases when pods encounter errors. The last one, we migrate some public host images to AWS public ECR and training E2E test to shared CI. So this has been consistently improved, and we also explore more options. Next, Andrew from working group AutoML will talk about Khartip changes.
Hi everyone, thanks Jashin. It's Andrew from AutoML Training Working Group. So I'll just give you a quick update with Khartip in 1.3. I'm happy to announce that in 1.3, Khartip supports Kubernetes 1.18. So we have our custom cert generator, and you also can deploy Khartip with the cert manager, which we should be ready for production ready system. The next step is I'm super excited to announce that the new Khartip UI is already in upstream, which includes a lot of new features with the new experiment view page, with detailed experiment information, also like with great integration with Kubeflow central dashboard, and also with subject accessor view. So users will not have any problems with updating the page and to worry about the logging to the particular UI. Also, you can track the progress in the project one, because this is not like in the final version, but we're still developing this UI, and we're sure that in 1.4 we will just release all the features in this new UI. Also, we currently support the Juju operator in upstream, which is basically you can simply deploy Khartip using a Juju bundle, which is also like straightforward and don't need to worry about the manifest organization in your environment. And also, like we updating our launchers for Kubeflow pipelines. So we have a couple of examples in upstream already, which you can find in the pipelines repository. But moreover, we created the end-to-end example, which show how you can combine all of the Kubeflow components in the pipelines mode. So basically, you can run the train, tune, and serve components inside the Kubeflow pipelines. And we're also like updating the launchers for Khartip and training. And also, like we're improving the functionality regarding to the vendoring. So basically, we're updating the Khartip packages to Go models, which can be very useful if you want to just build your system on top of the Khartip. And which is super important, I just want to, if you want to just join our meetings, currently we have the training and auto meetings at the same time. So just use the links below, and you can see our schedule, you can see our like users list, and if you want to learn more about Khartip, just take a look at the demos and presentation list and our roadmap. And with this, I just pass to James, who just will give the updates on pipelines.
Thank you, Andre. Hello, this is James Liu from Kubeflow Pipelines. For the Kubeflow 1.3 release, the Kubeflow pipeline UI has been reorganized for a more unified experience. We have added a recurring ones list as the main entry in our dashboard. We also simplified the dependency graph. If you have multiple upstream in your node, we allow you to simplify them to a single upstream line from the most direct ancestor. And we also support a newer Argo version. In that newer version, we have the new node state, which is omitted state. We also reflect them on the UI as well. We also show the archive tab in the experiment detail. So once you archive an experiment, you'll be able to access them easily. So you can choose to restore them or destroy them, depends on your need. We also add the task detail for each node. So once you click on a node in a dependency graph, you'll be able to see the start time, end time, duration, and more about this node. In the Kubeflow 1.3 release, we actually upgrade Kubeflow pipeline from 1.0.4 to 1.5. So there are actually way more changes we have made in this release. So feel free to check out the changelog file from the Kubeflow pipeline repository to see more detail. One note, we are actively working on the Kubeflow pipeline v2. The design doc is accessible from here. In this v2 design, we are focusing on improving the capability of data management. At the meantime, we are working on a v2 compatible mode to smoothly transfer from v1 to v2. So you can take a look at the link over there as well. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Dan to talk about KF serving.
Okay, I don't think Dan is here, so I'll pitch it for him. This is Josh. In KF Serving 0.5, we've had enhanced API and ML framework support. That includes KF Serving, beta APIs, as well as v2 inference protocol. That means that the control plane API has a stable v1 beta 1. You'll hear this term quite a bit when you're on the community calls. And the data plane API has a v2 inference protocol. There have been torch serve integrations. So you can see that torch serve for PyTorch model server, as well as model explainability with Katum and torch serve examples are all available through these links. There's new model servers for PMML as well as LightGBM, and sklearn and XGBoost model serving support ML server and v2 inference protocol. Importantly, there's also been quite a bit of work around simplifying operations. And you can see this in the Canary rollout patterns, as well as you have Triton interface inference server v2 with REST and gRPC protocol support, and nice examples with BERT and Torch script on GPUs. So I know this is a very interesting topic to many, many folks that are out there doing these advanced MLP markets. TensorFlow, gRPC support, again, optimizing all those messages back and forth, and transformer to predictor call using async IO. And you can look at how this helps with latency and throughput. Fine grained settings, right, for timeouts on a component spec, and setting container and pod template level fields for prepackaged models. And you can see the environmental and liveness and readiness probes there. The KF serving meeting is every 2 weeks, and always a great discussion there. And you can find more information in this blog post about their release that in 1.3, which included KF serving 0.5, the KF serving presentation, which is a good detail, meeting notes, and their GitHub repository. With that, we'll jump into the end-to-end workflow managers. In this, primarily, we have an update to Kale, which is a Jupyter Lab extension that simplifies your hyperparameter tuning setup. So the UI walks you through entering your hyperparameter as a list or a range, allowing you to pick your algorithm, grid, random, Bayesian, and then pick parameters to be optimized, like minimizing loss. Click a button, and the cat tip trials are set up, snapshotted, tracked, and run for you. You can see here in this repo to get more information on Kale, and there are a series of tutorials that will progressively help you work through more advanced workflows. Talking about tutorials, we did get feedback. We needed new tutorials. There's a new one with AutoML. It's available today. You basically provide it with a data set and it will pick an ML framework, then automate your pipeline tuning, provide some efficient hyperparameter tuning, simplified model serving, and an integration with Tensorboard so you can analyze your model's performance. This, as well as the other tutorials that many of you have seen, like the Open Vaccine, are available on AWS and GCP, and they run in about an hour. There's one other new model risk management. This tutorial allows you to produce SR 11.7 compliance reports for financial institutions that are regulated by the Federal Reserve. And it provides reporting on bias and bias mitigation in home mortgage lending model. Again, kind of an interesting extension to Kubeflow through a third party that's producing these reports called Fairly AI. What's coming is that we see that Kubeflow community now is planning for Kubeflow 1.3.1 as well as Kubeflow 1.4. I believe that we'll see the Kubeflow KF serving UI be integrated in one of those releases. And I think we briefly talked about this, but it does provide operational status, configuration metrics, and logging, and allows you to keep really good information on your serving components, including your predictor, transformer, and explainer, with showing your frameworks, your runtime, your storage URI, notebooks, and their YAML. And you can see more on this PR. So with that, just to sum up, we appreciate everybody's support and would like more and more people to continue to get involved. You can join the Slack channel through this link here. There's also a Kubeflow Discuss mailing list, which has a lot of great interaction between contributors and users. And always feel free to join the weekly community meetings and the working group meetings. Finally, we do see a lot of great information coming in on GitHub, both with PRs and issues, and we welcome the community to engage on those PRs and get progress made on the gaps and things that they want out of Kubeflow. So thank you very much to all the contributors on Kubeflow 1.3, and we look forward to all the user success with Kubeflow 1.3 in the near future. Thank you.